Hi, I'm Cassandra. So I'm pretty sure most of you are wondering right now, what is this 7th grader doing on the stage? Or like, okay, this 12-year-old's gonna tell us a story. So I'm here because I believe that I have what you would call a unique story to tell you, and I hope it inspires you to do something. So like any other ordinary 12-year-old girl, we have concerns. Mostly about our appearance, like our hair or what type of jeans we wear. But those are pretty, rather stupid, I guess. So other than those concerns, I was also concerned about other things that normal 12-year-old girls wouldn't be concerned with. And the first one of these would be global warming. After reading an article in the Providence Journal a few years back, I found out that Rhode Island, the ocean state, might become the under-ocean state by 2100 if global warming is allowed to continue. So this here is a picture of what Manhattan may look like if this happens. It's estimated that the sea level rise may increase by 3 to 6 feet. So we do not want this to happen. The second concern was that many people in my community in westerly Rhode Island couldn't afford to heat their homes. So this was an effort initiated by our local warm shelter, which is a charity in my area, and it's called the $1 a week campaign. So in this campaign, residents could donate $1 every week, and this money would go towards emergency heating funds. The one main problem I found with this solution was that it wasn't very sustainable, and they would have to raise all this money every year just to stay on top of the problem. This last one, I really call a concern, because you guys might think I'm weird, but I'm just gonna say after extensive research, I found out that many sewers were getting clogged because people were pouring their fog or their fats, oils, and grease down the drain. And this was clogging the sewers, and it was very expensive to fix. This was especially a problem for major cities such as Warwick, Rhode Island, and San Francisco. San Francisco is actually spending an average about $3.5 million every single year just to clean up these dirty sewers. And here's just another example of how disgusting really these sewers can get. Okay, so now you know most of my issues, my problems. So the next step into thinking is, okay, we know your issues. What did you do about it? What did you do with this knowledge? So what I chose to do was I got together with a group of my friends, and we started what became known as the Junior Win Team, which is a student-led community service team. So we started hosting weekly meetings every week, and those looked a little something like this. And we would just brainstorm ideas on what we wanted to do to help our community as well as the environment. If you can see, there's a lot of food on the table, because I figured out the one thing that I learned from this was that we kids really run on food. If you don't have food, there's no life in the kids. So, my tip of the day. So we also wanted to build a really strong team. So we wanted a team that could connect with each other. So we started engaging in team-building activities such as this. Yeah, so those were very intense times. So after a lot of brainstorming, we came up with our idea, our project. We named our project T.G.I.F, Turn Grease into Fuel. So what we do is we take grease from restaurants for making their fried foods like French fries and fish and chips, and we turn that grease into biodiesel fuel. And we then give that biodiesel back to the community, and it goes towards people who can't afford to heat their homes. So I understand in this adult world, you guys would call this a business model or a business plan. I don't know, to me, this is just a really big drawing, so I don't know. Whatever you call it, this is the whole layout of our project, and we broke it up into 3 small parts, or 3 big parts, actually. The first one would be collecting waste cooking oil. The middle part would be refining the grease, and the last part would be the distribution of the fuel. Our first part was targeting residential waste cooking oil. So what we did was we first asked our local town council to install a waste cooking oil receptacle at the transfer station so people could recycle their grease there. We did this through acting out a skit with the freezing person, who is now very grateful for the help that the WIN team has provided. So as a result of this, the town council voted unanimously to install the waste cooking oil recycling bin at the transfer station shown here. It's actually right next to the electronics recycling bin that our senior WIN team set up in 2005. We also knew that in order for our project to be a success, we needed to raise awareness for our project. So we distributed over 2,500 of these flyers, both at supermarkets and through our school system. Since Westerly is a mainly Italian town, we also addressed, because they make this sort of sausage called soupy, which you have to bathe in oil for several weeks before it's actually done. So we talked to them especially in our flyer and told them to please recycle your grease at the transfer station. So as I said before, we also manually handed out the flyers at supermarkets. And I don't know if you can see, I'm the one with the cool hat and the recycling cooking oil drum. That wasn't, thinking back, that wasn't our best costume design. As well as the flyers, we also handed out promotional kitchen calendars so people could just look at their kitchen wall and say, like, oh, I have to recycle grease today. So we also handed 1,500 of these kitchen calendars out. We also made a radio commercial that broadcasted on a local radio station called 96.7 FM WBLQ, and I'll just show you a portion of that.
Ew, look at all that grease. Where do you think it goes?
You pour it down the drain. Do you want more french fries?
Hey, don't do that. That cooking oil can be turned into fuel to help needy people's homes. You can set up your restaurant so a company can pick up your grease.
Hey, thanks. I'll talk to my manager.
Did you know that right here in Westerly, there are families who cannot afford to heat their homes? These people are our neighbors and need our help.
So that was just a portion of the radio commercial that we created. We also made presentations to various age groups to tell more people about our project. We talked to a lot of different age groups, from children that were younger than us to our peers, our own peers, and let's say older people such as you guys. So for younger audiences especially, we tried to engage them into our presentation by showing various animations to grasp their attention quickly. After every presentation that we made to our younger audiences, we would host a Jeopardy game to test how much knowledge they had learned throughout the whole presentation.
What form of alternative energy is Rhode Island going to install along Long Island shore? The winds. Correct.
So as I said before, we also talked to kids that were younger than us, and these were our local first grade Daisy troops. They were really focused and attentive throughout our presentation, so we know they'll be great volunteers in the future. And as a plus, they're really cute, if you can see. So that brings me to the next part of our whole blueprints, and that would be targeting commercial waste cooking oil. Commercial meaning restaurants, local businesses, such as golf clubs. So what we did was we asked local restaurants to donate their grease to our program. We currently have 85 restaurants in 8 towns and 2 states participating in this program. And this number is increasing weekly. For restaurant owners, we can offer them with up to 4 55-gallon drums, or for larger restaurants, an 175-gallon dumpster. We also recycled grease by ourselves, and this was from a local fishery. And I don't know if you can see from our faces, but it wasn't the most pleasant of jobs. And there's like leftover fish bones and stuff still in the grease, so it wasn't gross. So we hired a contractor called Grease Co., which is a local company, to come and pick up the grease from both locations, the transfer station as well as the restaurants. So Grease Co. can help us pump out the grease. That brings me to the next part of our action plan. That would be the refining of the grease. So Grease Co. can drive his truck over to a refiner who can refine the grease into biodiesel fuel for us. Currently, Grease Co. sells the grease on the open market, and we collect the funds from the sold grease. We visited a local refinery to find out how biodiesel was made, and then we proceeded to make biodiesel by ourselves. So we went through all the steps of the chemical process, from mixing the methanol and the lye to create the catalyst methoxide, to heating and filtering the raw oil feedstock. That was called the trans-esterification process. So we did this all with the help of our assistant coach, Alex, who made sure we had the protective gear, like the gloves and goggles on, and he just happens to be my brother. So here's our final product, and our results show that biodiesel made from waste cooking oil is the most cost-effective way of making biodiesel. There's also a natural byproduct of biodiesel, which is glycerin, and that is used in many cosmetics, like soap. That brings me to the last part of my project, so I hope you guys aren't asleep yet. This is the distribution part. We receive 20% of all the funds that we collect, and we worked with our 3 charities, and they get the funds. The 3 charities are the Warm Shelter, the Bradford Johnny Cake Center, and the MASH Shelter. As of last winter, we donated 4,000 gallons of bioheat to our 3 charities, heating 40 families' homes over the winter, and that's equivalent to over $10,000 in funds. Thanks. Thank you. This offsets 500,000 pounds of carbon dioxide from being released into the atmosphere. And on the left we're with one of our recipients, who is a single mom who was struggling to heat her home with a 3-year-old kid, so she couldn't heat her home without our help. We're also expanding our project to Warwick. We're talking to the mayor of Warwick here, and just yesterday, we had a meeting with the Warwick sewer board authorities, and we hope that Project T.G.I.F in Warwick will be completely operational by January 1st, 2011. Thanks. So this is in Stonington, Connecticut. We've already installed a waste cooking oil receptacle in Stonington with the help of our shelter MASH, as well as First Selectman Edward Habrick. And as a result of our efforts, we gained a lot of media attention from local newspapers such as Providence Business News, our local Westerly Sun, the Mystic River Press, websites, magazines, as well as NBC Connecticut, which is going to air on September 27th, so mark your calendars. Another really cool thing was we were on CNN Newsroom via Skype, as well as the MTV Switch campaign from Ashoka's Youth Venture. So I think there's somebody from Ashoka out there, so go Ashoka. Ashoka, yes. And the MTV Switch campaign was really cool because we were one of 5 projects selected out of the world, and we were the only project selected from the United States. So this documentary is currently airing on the 100+ channels that MTV has worldwide. After every presentation that we make, we say to our audience, even though we're young, we made a difference for a better world. And so can you. So thank you for listening.